You've had your dog for years. You feed them, you walk them, you let them sleep on the couch. But what if I told you that, right now, tonight, your dog is quietly longing for something you've never given them? And the longer you go without doing it, the more that invisible wall between you keeps growing. Most owners will never figure this out. And the dogs that never get it, they spend their whole lives loving someone who never fully loved them back. The right way. Stay with me because what I'm about to share will change how you see your dog forever. Welcome to Canine Mind. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now because this is exactly the kind of thing we talk about every single week. Let's get into it. And I want you to pay attention because every single point on this list builds on the last one. By the time we get to number 5, you're going to understand your dog in a way that most owners never do. Not even close. 1. Think about the last time you petted your dog. Where did your hands go? The top of the head, right? Maybe down the back. A quick scratch behind the ear and you moved on. It felt like affection. It looked like affection. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For a lot of dogs, that kind of petting is just something they tolerate. And tolerating is not the same as loving. There's a massive difference between a dog that sits still while you pet them and a dog that genuinely melts under your touch. And if you've never felt that second one, you might not even know what you're missing. Here's what the science actually tells us. Dogs have specific zones on their bodies where gentle touch activates the deepest relaxation response. We're talking about the base of the ears, the chest just below the collarbone, the sides of the neck, and the area right at the base of the tail where the back ends. These aren't random. These are spots connected to pressure-sensitive nerve clusters that when stimulated slowly and gently trigger a parasympathetic response, meaning your dog's nervous system physically shifts into a state of calm, safety, and connection. A study, published in the journal Physiology and Behavior, found that when dogs were stroked in these specific high-sensitivity zones, their cortisol levels, that's the stress hormone, dropped measurably. Their heart rate slowed. They leaned in. They stayed. Compare that to dogs that were petted on top of the head, which is actually one of the least preferred spots for most dogs, and the difference in physiological response was significant. Most dogs instinctively duck away from a hand coming straight down at their head. And yet, that's the first thing almost every person does when they meet a dog. So, here's what I want you to try tonight. Sit with your dog. Start at the neck, not the head. Use slow, circular pressure. Watch what happens around their eyes, their shoulders, their breathing. You'll know within 30 seconds whether you found it because when you hit the right spot with the right pressure, something happens in their face that you can't miss. The eyes go soft. The jaw loosens. The whole body settles. That's not just a nice moment. That's your dog's brain releasing oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that humans release during deep emotional connection. You're not just petting them, you're building a biological bridge between the two of you that goes deeper than anything a treat or a toy could create. And if that already surprised you, hold on because the last point on this list is something so overlooked, so completely ignored by most dog owners that when you finally understand it, you're going to wish someone had told you on day 1. Keep watching. 2. Let me ask you something. When was the last time your dog got to just stop and smell something for as long as they wanted? Not 2 seconds before you tug the leash. Actually stop, nose down, taking it all in for as long as they needed. If you can't remember, then you might be making one of the most common and most damaging mistakes in dog ownership without even knowing it. Here's what most people think a walk is for. Exercise. Get the dog moving, burn some energy, get back home in 20 minutes. And yes, physical movement matters. But for a dog, a walk is not primarily a physical experience. It's a mental and social one. Your dog's nose contains roughly 300 million olfactory receptors. Yours has about 6 million. The part of a dog's brain devoted to analyzing smells proportionally 40 times larger than yours. When your dog stops at a fire hydrant or a patch of grass and starts sniffing, they are not wasting time. They are reading. They are processing a full landscape of information which animals pass through. How recently, their emotional state, their health, their sex, their territory. It's the equivalent of you sitting down to read the morning news. When you rush them through that, when you drag them past every interesting thing on the street, you are cutting off their primary way of experiencing and understanding the world. And you're doing it multiple times a day, every single day. A study out of the University of Bristol found that dogs who were given more opportunities for olfactory exploration during walks showed significantly lower levels of stress behaviors at home. Things like restlessness, excessive barking, and destructive chewing. The sniffing itself was what reduced the anxiety, not the distance covered, not the speed, the sniffing. So, here's the shift. Once or twice a week, go on what's called a decompression walk. Let your dog lead. Let them stop wherever they want for as long as they want. No agenda, no route, no timeline. Loose leash, low pressure. Just follow your dog's nose through the neighborhood and let them drink it all in. What you'll notice afterward is remarkable. A dog that was restless and overstimulated comes home calm, centered, and ready to settle. Not because they're exhausted, because they're fulfilled. There's a difference. And the more you learn to tell those two things apart, the better you'll understand what your dog actually needs from you. That brings us right into number 3. And this one is going to challenge something that almost every dog owner believes they're doing correctly. 3. Have you ever called your dog's name and watched them completely ignore you? Not because they didn't hear you, not because they're being stubborn, but because the way you said it meant absolutely nothing to them in that moment. Most people assume their dog understands language the way we do, that if you speak clearly and firmly, your dog is processing your words and choosing whether to respond. But that's not how a dog's brain works at all. And once you understand what's actually happening inside your dog's head when you speak, everything changes. Researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Hungary conducted a groundbreaking study using brain imaging on dogs while they listened to their owners speak. What they found was extraordinary. Dogs process not just the tone of your voice, but also the actual words, and they use different hemispheres of the brain to do it. The right hemisphere processes emotional tone. The left hemisphere processes meaning. And here's the critical part. A genuine sense of reward and connection only activated when both the words and the tone matched. Praise words said in a flat tone did nothing. Neutral words said in an enthusiastic tone did nothing. But praise words said with genuine warmth that lit up the reward center of the dog's brain like nothing else. So, when you say good boy in a rushed, distracted, monotone voice while scrolling on your phone, your dog's brain is getting a mixed signal. The word says one thing, the tone says another, and the result is confusion or worse, complete disengagement. The fix is not about talking more. It's about being present when you do talk. Short phrases, genuine warmth, eye contact, a tone that actually reflects what you feel. Think about the difference between someone texting you, sounds great, with zero enthusiasm, versus someone looking you in the eyes and saying the same thing with a real smile. You feel the difference instantly. Your dog does too, except they're even more sensitive to it than you are. Start building a vocal signature with your dog. Pick 2 or 3 phrases you use consistently in positive moments. Not commands, just connection words. Maybe it's the way you say their name when you're happy to see them. Maybe it's a specific phrase when you sit down together at the end of the day. Use it consistently with the same tone in the same emotional state. Over time, that phrase becomes an anchor. It tells your dog's nervous system, everything is okay. You are with me. I see you. That kind of vocal bonding is completely free, takes almost no effort, and most dog owners never even think to do it. Now, imagine combining that with what I'm about to show you next. 4. Quick question. When was the last time your dog had to work for their food? Not a complicated trick, not a long training session, just something, anything that made them use their brain, their nose, or their body to earn what they ate. If the answer is never or I can't remember, then you might be missing one of the simplest and most powerful tools available to you as a dog owner. Here's the reality. Dogs evolved as working animals. Every breed you can think of, retrievers, hounds, herding dogs, terriers, was developed alongside humans to perform specific tasks, to hunt, to track, to herd, to guard. Their brains are literally wired for problem solving in a way that a bowl of food sitting on the floor does absolutely nothing to satisfy. When a dog eats out of a standard bowl, the meal is over in about 45 seconds. There's no challenge, no engagement, no sense of having done something to earn it. And while there's nothing harmful about that on a surface level, what you're leaving on the table, the invisible emotional benefit, is enormous. A study published in Applied Animal Cognition found that dogs showed markedly higher levels of positive emotional indicators, things like relaxed body posture, enthusiastic engagement, and post-meal calmness when they had to work to access their food compared to when it was simply provided. The dogs that used puzzle feeders, sniff mats, or even just had their kibble scattered across the grass before eating weren't just more tired, they were more satisfied emotionally, deeply. And here's the part that most people don't realize. When you are the one presenting that challenge, when you're the person who hides the treat, sets up the puzzle, or scatters the food in the garden and sends your dog to find it, you become part of the satisfaction. Your dog doesn't just associate the food with hunger being resolved, they associate you with that deep feeling of accomplishment and reward. You stop being just the person who fills the bowl. You become the source of one of the most fulfilling experiences in their day. You don't need to buy anything special to start. Take their regular kibble and scatter it across the backyard grass. Put a handful inside a rolled-up towel. Hide small portions in 3 different spots around the house and let them sniff it out. Do this just a few times a week and watch the shift. Watch how your dog looks at you after. That's not just a satisfied dog. That's a dog that trusts you on a primal level. And now, the final one. This is the one that I promised you at the beginning. The one that costs nothing, requires nothing, and yet almost no dog owner ever does it intentionally. This is the one that might be the most important thing on this entire list. 5. I want you to try something the next time you're home with your dog. Not right after a walk, not during playtime, not when they're jumping for your attention. Just a random, quiet moment in the day. Get up from the couch, set your phone down, and sit on the floor. No calling them over, no holding out a treat, no reaching for them. Just sit there. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but what happens next, if you give it enough time, will tell you more about your relationship with your dog than almost anything else. Think about what your dog experiences every single day from a physical standpoint. You are enormous. Every person in their life is enormous. When you walk through the house, you walk above them. When you reach down to touch them, your hand comes from above. And in animal body language, presence from above means dominance, pressure, control. Your dog accepts all of that because they love you and they trust you, but they never, not once, get to experience you as an equal, as a presence that is simply there, at the same height, in the same space, with nothing being asked of them. When you sit on the floor and wait, something quiet shifts in the room. Your dog will notice the change. Maybe they glance over from across the room. Maybe they stand up and look at you differently. And then, if you stay still and stay calm, you'll see it. They'll start to drift toward you, not bounding over, not demanding attention, just slowly, deliberately, moving into your space. They might sit a foot away. They might put their chin on your knee. They might just lie down facing you. That movement, that choice to come to you without being called, without food, without any external reward, is one of the most honest things a dog can do. It means they want to be near you, not because of what you're offering, because of who you are to them. Research in canine ethology, the study of natural dog behavior, consistently shows that dogs who experience regular low-pressure, non-demanding physical proximity with their owners display stronger, secure attachment patterns, lower baseline anxiety, greater confidence in new situations, more resilient stress responses, not because of training, not because of exercise, because of simple, quiet presence shared between two beings who trust each other. That's what you're building when you sit on the floor, not just a cute moment, a foundation, a language between you and your dog that requires no words, no tools, no expertise. Just the willingness to come down to their world and say, without saying anything at all, I'm here. You're safe. This is us. Now, think about all 5 of these together. The right touch in the right places, walks that feed their mind, not just their body, a voice that actually speaks their language, food that makes you the source of deep satisfaction, and presence that needs nothing in return. None of these cost money. None of them take more than a few minutes. But together, they create something that most dog owners spend years chasing without ever knowing what it's called. They call it a bond, but what it really is trust. And your dog has been ready to give it to you since the very first day they looked up at you. The only question is whether you're going to meet them halfway. If this changed the way you think about your dog, share it with someone who loves their dog the way you do. Subscribe to Canine Mind for more of this, because understanding your dog is the greatest thing you can ever do for them.